go ahead and like try to like, you know, reenact like certain fight scene. We'll go ahead and.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Nico Likes to Talk, a conversation podcast where I do the one thing people tell me I do a lot, which is talk. But today I get a chance to talk with Anthony, a brilliant actor and stunt performer. And it's good to have you, man. I appreciate you chatting with me today.
Dude, thank you for having me, man. It's awesome to be here. It's exciting to be here. And yeah, I'm ready to chop it up.
Heck yeah, dude. So I guess quick background. We met briefly on a short film set here in Orlando. A fun experience had by all in general. But you know, I just watching you work, and then I finally got a chance to watch some footage from my friend Gadiel, who was the director, and that's what really spurred. I was like, oh, I got to talk to this man, like, you know, a little more in depth, because the fight scene was like dope as hell. And I was like, geez, I didn't get a chance. You know, I was running around a lot on the days of, and even before, so I didn't really get a chance to, like, you know, really talk. So I was like, this is the perfect time. Yeah. So like, how was that for you? I mean, just a little background if you want to tell people, like.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, first off, I mean that was while definitely for me it was a fun experience too. I mean, also too working with Gadiel. Gadiel is someone who definitely knows what he wants and what he's looking for. He knows exactly like how to, you know, to shoot things to use it. It's pretty awesome. And also too working with Jose. Jose is another gifted artist.
Oh my God.
You know, gifted martial artist, gifted actor as well, gifted choreographer. And him and I have been wanting to work together for such a long time, for quite some time, actually, maybe even like a couple of years. And I think when we had first met, I forget whether he was still living in Puerto Rico or he was living in Miami. But we got introduced to a buddy of mine and also business partner, Tony DeLeon Jr., who had linked us up together, and it was in the making for quite some time. So when we finally got to, you know, find a story, find a good script where it's like, okay, now this makes sense to finally do it. We ended up having a blast. And yeah, shooting that fight scene, I will say that was an experience in and of itself, because the way that we shot that fight scene and the way that we had performed it, I had never performed it that way before. Like Jose kind of like, I just like, we choreographed it, but like, as far as like how to shoot it, how to perform it, I let Jose do his thing, because he's known to be, you know, very much like involved, like in front and behind the camera as well. You know what I mean? It's all mine, but like, you know, everyone does things differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
I learned a completely different way of shooting and performing action. And so did he. And I have to say, as intense as that fight scene looked, it was the smoothest I had ever performed. Like, I kid you not, like, after when we were done, I was like, I feel like I could shoot 3 more fight scenes like this.
Really?
Yeah.
You weren't gassed? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was just a manipulation of like, you know, we're moving like at a certain speed, but not too fast, not too hard. A lot of it is like, we're moving, but like not at full speed, but we're also acting it out as if we were. And, you know, I guess just the manipulation of like the shutter speed of the camera and all that stuff. I mean, he's much more better about the terminologies than I do. Me, I just know how to do it. Like,
I just know how to, yeah.
Whatever. But he knows a little bit more about that. Man, like I said, it was such a smooth shoot. And you know what? Like, for sure, like I definitely want to do it again with him, and we're discussing that.
That's awesome, because like from my, you know, I've been on some short films and a lot of like indie projects in the last 6-7 years, and you experience a lot, but just watching, you know, stunt performers work, it's something magical. That's why I was always drawn to it. Like, I'm not a performer myself. I'm a more behind the scenes dude, but just, I mean, I guess I love all matter of entertainment. That's why I like to do this. That's why I like writing movies. I just love the industry, and not in like I'm in love with it kind of way, but more so I appreciate what it brings out of people and what it could do. And when Gadiel, like when he was showing me Jose stuff from way back, and like me and Gadiel, I've known him for years, worked on stuff with him for years, and I'm accustomed to how he works and how, especially in the indie world, you take every crumb you can get when it comes to acting or when it comes to work, or, you know, it's hard to make it stuff made. It's very hard.
Absolutely.
But watching his reel and then watching your reel, and then when he told me that, he was able to book both of you, I was very excited, like very excited, just because, shooting fight scenes is tough. It's a ballet, it's a dance, right?
Essentially, I was going
you
to say,
don't want to.
it's definitely seemed a lot like that. While at the same time, like it's you're also having to mind like, yes, this is also choreography, and you have to try to make sure you hit every beat, but also making sure too, like I'm someone who very much looks at the monitor every chance that I freaking get. Like,
Really?
that kick good? Was that kick nice and extended? Was that technique sharp? You know what I mean? Because for me, it's just like, I mean, I don't know. You hear like actors and other performers who say like, I don't care to look at the monitor and stuff like that. They have their reasons why they don't. Me, I very much need to, just because.
You're like, I need to see it.
Right. Well, and it just goes to show too, because like at the end of the day, like for me, I just see it as like, I'm not just representing myself. When I'm performing fight scenes and stuff like that, I am representing those who have taught me before. I'm representing my martial arts, representing my action coach, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So, for me, it's like I am performing their teachings. I'm performing their art that they have bestowed upon me, and like now I'm basically just kind of like showcasing that legacy. You know what I mean? So for me,
Yeah.
okay, I want to do right, not just to myself, but also to, my mentors before.
No, for sure. And it's, because like you mentioned your fight acting coach, your fight trainers, like looking on your Instagram, I could see all the anime, posts, because I'm an anime person myself now.
Yeah, I'm very much.
Would you say, is that, would you say like, that anime is really what could have gotten you into sort of this lifestyle?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the fight scenes growing up watching either not just Dragon Ball Z, but OG Dragon Ball really drew me to that idea of like doing your best, going, trying your best, failure otherwise. Like, would you say that's like very inspiring for you?
Absolutely, 1,000%. Especially like OG Dragon Ball, like before, like the transformation, before the super.
Oh,
line.
before Ultra Ego and all.
Exactly. Don't get me wrong, like that stuff is dope. Just as like definitely old school Dragon Ball. Was very much like hell, like even Street Fighter, like back in the day. Like no, it was like real, martial arts. And you actually saw like these characters training, like not that you don't, but like training in traditional freaking styles. I mean, hell, and freaking going up, carrying freaking buckets of water, like mountain, all that. Like it's amazing. So yeah, definitely it was a huge influence, especially as a kid. You know what I mean? Before I got introduced to this guy, Dragon Ball was very much the thing that it's like, oh yeah, like I definitely want to go ahead and dress up in a gi and throw
for sure, dude.
punch in the air, stuff like that. Yeah, and then this guy basically, was like, okay, how does this look in real life or in movies, for instance? Like
yeah, but be like water. That phrase always stuck out to me. Just be like water, my friend. Water becomes the cup. It's just that free flowing, ultra instinct before you really knew what ultra instinct was, sort of, fighting, of just like going with your instincts. My dad, he trained in martial arts. He never taught me. I mean, he taught me a little, but like he was heavily into it, and he was in acting and comedy and all that stuff. So for me, that marrying those lifestyles was always an alternate version of me. I could see myself doing that. But when I see action movies, I'm always thinking, man, how'd they do that? What waiver did they have to sign to make sure they could get away with that?
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are you watching?
The whole concept of like be like water. Like I very much apply that to like my action, my martial arts. I mean, to this very day. I mean, because for me, like I had studied. I've been training martial arts since I was 7 years old. I'm 31 now. You know what I mean? But also like I've studied like multiple different styles. I mean, just throughout the years. I mean, Muay Thai, Capoeira, a little bit of Taekwondo, some Judo, Kali. You'll see a lot of in my videos, especially like the Capoeira and Muay Thai. So those are like maybe like 3 you'll see. But also wrestling, a little bit of boxing, and so on. So I definitely dabbled, throughout the years, and that's just something that I'm very much a prime definition of a backyard warrior or a garage warrior. You know what I mean? In the sense of like, to me, like I've trained in like dojos and stuff like that, and, got bells, whatever. Most of my training, to be honest with you, has been like in like garages and and backyards. I mean, that's really what like where
that's
real
awesome.
arts is done, because like everything's like so focused. On top of that, who you're with, depending on who you're with, like, you know, it's very skilled at what they do. And the thing is, there's no interruptions whatsoever. It's literally just you and that one other person, and you are training, hell, making in the hot sun or in the hot garage.
Yeah,
As you are, and
for sure.
It's absolutely amazing, you know. So for me, like there weren't really too much in my life. Like there was like phases, I should say. You know what I mean? Whereas like, okay, you know, you're in this phase, you know, of the art, then that phase of the art, that phase of the art. It just keeps on building. You know, and to this day, I still train. You know, and I'm still learning. I still, even like now, I live here in Vegas, and a lot of my training came from Florida. Funny enough, when I used to.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Originally, I'm from New York. I've been in New York since I was around I was like 15.
Yeah.
And then I moved to Florida, and then from Florida, so that's 30. Now I live in Vegas.
So, but so about a year in Vegas so far, essentially, right?
Yeah, just over a year. Mm-hmm.
Now, would you train on top of the sphere if they allowed you, like just doing that classic, you know, Karate Kid, like on top of the highest peak?
Don't give me any ideas, because someone already tried to climb that thing already. Like, I'm envious of it, because like I literally saw that. And I was just like, I should have thought of that.
Oh. I should have done it.
No,
man.
If you watch like my Instagrams and stuff like that, I'm always climbing a mountain or something. So it's like, it's not beyond me. Not climb that sphere.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's like, okay, just if I can chalk up and get some good gloves, I think I could do it.
Yeah, exactly. But you know,
that's hilarious, dude.
Don't worry.
You know,
not going to climb the sphere.
They know that. They're like, look, they have people ready to go. Unless you're Tom Cruise, you don't get to do it.
Right.
Like because I saw that you're climbing mountains, so you're pretty active. Do you have like everyone has like a sort of set workout routine, because I've talked to other not martial arts workout enthusiasts so far, and everyone has advice on working out is different. Does yours differ from the traditional? Do you like have a plan? Because if you're training, but is that also more calisthenics when you're not doing actual martial arts training, or weightlifting?
So you know what's funny? I was actually just recently having a conversation about this not too long ago. I mean, because I have like all sorts of friends of mine and stuff like that who's always, you know, they see what I do and they ask, you know, what the regimen is, and you know, there's really no secret to this. I mean, I tell them first off, like, this is just what I do. So whatever everyone else does, it works for them, works differently.
Sure.
You know, not exactly licensed to give out fitness tips, but
no.
You know, but funny enough, I grew up with a bodybuilder stepdad who also was a personal trainer, and like when it comes to like bodybuilding,
oh wow,
I learned a lot from him. You know, so that's where that came into play. So I mean, so for me, yeah, you know, apart from learning martial arts, I mean, for me, like I meet up with like my teacher every now and then, who's also my action coach. His name is Maurice Crump, who himself is also a international martial arts star. If you Google him.
Yes. Yeah.
Google him.
That's your teacher?
Yeah, that's my teacher.
I follow on Instagram. I watch his stuff all the time.
Yeah, that's
dude. Okay, legit.
God, how old was I? 19 years old when we met, and has been training me ever since. So yeah, martial arts teacher as well as my action coach. And you know, he's also known for training stars like Dave Bautista, Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
Also martial arts, but Kofi Kingston, and of course, you know, the legendary R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman.
Yes, because he was. I watched some of their workout in the garage that time. Like they were practicing. It was right before the first Black Panther movie or Civil War, one of those two, where you watch them practicing in the garage, and that's why I started following them. Yeah. On Instagram, just you know, because I love I follow action stunt performers. I mean, you guys are the heart of the actual movies themselves.
Yeah. No, man. So
that's awesome.
He was prepping him for all those movies, all the way from Civil War to Black Panther to Infinity War. Endgame.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Like, it's such a small world. Like, to me, that's just interesting. Like, if people were like, man, how do I get to Hollywood, but like, how do I get to know a person? It is literally, what is that game with Kevin Bacon, 6 Degrees from Kevin Bacon?
Yeah.
I know you know Marcus. Marcus trained Chadwick. Chadwick knew everybody else. It's amazing how small this world is, let alone an industry.
You know,
without even doing any
and
research.
to add to that, you know, funny enough how me and Maurice met. So before I decided to stick with acting, I started off like in stunt performing, you know, and then from stunt performing, you know, after I had gotten like my first couple of gigs, pretty much like film kind of started for me like when I was in high school, and I was in TV production and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, doing like morning announcements and making cheesy commercials and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's where film kind of like started for me, or at least learning how to like make a video, you know. So after like my first couple of gigs, I ended up deciding to create like my own little team, which it was called Genesis Action Stunts, and that was like my whole little group. So we were making videos in the park with a cheap camcorder. Yes, a camcorder, kids.
Yes. Got to put tape
Yeah.
in.
And
Got to put some tape in it. This ain't
we
digital.
yeah, we were just uploading like videos on YouTube and just putting out content out there, seeing how it would track, and just really just kind of just showcasing our skills. You know what I mean? And just trying to master the craft and so on. And so eventually we ended up getting discovered by like this Full Sail student at the time. His name was Vidal also. I forget him. Thanks to him, he ended up doing a documentary on me and my team. And funny enough, like at first it was supposed to be a documentary on a pretty well established stunt team. And then
Yeah.
I don't know, something happened, and then like plans had changed, and he was like, I think I want to go ahead and make a video or a documentary on what it takes to become a stunt team. Essentially, like people who are like just getting into the business, like what does that journey look like? And so that's what we were doing. And at the time, I was trying to make like my own short film. At that point, I was just like, okay, I'm ready to make a short film. Let's put out like something real out there and stuff, because I was inspired by like a lot of these other stunt teams that were out there, doing that, like Zero Gravity, the stunt people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I can go on EMC Monkeys, like those. Shouts out to those stunt teams, the OGs, and
Yeah.
we were trying to do the same. And so while I was doing that, the documentary was also being filmed at the same time. Unfortunately, the project had failed. We just kind of got to a point where it was like, oh, couldn't do this. I was wearing way too many hats, and which again, shouts out to folks like Gadiel and all the other, film directors I've ever worked with, because man, to wear that many hats, to run this, to run that, to run the actors, to run, behind the camera, in front of the camera, produce.
Yeah.
Man,
It's a lot.
That's where you truly know where your lane is at.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, that's really where you know where your lane is at. And so, but it was cool though. I mean, nonetheless, because it wasn't completely useless. Everyone got like like a bunch of like demo footage and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, cool, something came out of this, and but yeah, then right after that documentary, and after that, that released, I ended up getting cast in like my first short film as a lead actor, and as well as the fight choreographer. I also got to have like my entire stunt team, to be the cast of the film, and we ended up shooting a film called Hope, which was a nice nod, dedicated to like veterans out there who suffer from like PTSD. And it was amazing, so like the whole cast of, like basically the whole cast of like the stunt team and stuff like that. We got to shoot like a really cool like bar fight in like Full Sail Studios, so that was really nice.
Oh, on the back lot and all that? That's awesome.
Yeah, we kind of just had all that to our disposal, and they're like, all right, let's fuck it up. They're like, all right, so let's go. And we started doing choreography.
Shit, yeah, man.
So it was cool. And then from there, man, it started picking up from there. So now going on to how I met Maurice, it was because I also was, doing like similar martial arts styles as him, because he was also like one of my big inspirations and one of my heroes growing up. And this is like before he ended up, like getting like, like much bigger in the industry, because he was doing like a lot of like YouTube videos and stuff like that. And like, I really watched growing up, putting up all those videos. And then he ended up working on movies like Wrong Out, Batista, and then, working on movies like the original, like Man with the Iron Fist. And I was just like, oh, man, like I really...
Man with the Iron Fist, that is one of my favorite martial... I remember watched it 3 times in theaters.
Yeah, funny enough...
Still listen to the soundtrack.
Yeah, he choreographed a lot of the fights for RZA in that movie, and he also doubled him. So that was Maurice,
Dude,
like basically
God.
doing a lot of the action stuff.
I would
Whatever
ask him so
they
many
do,
questions because
Maurice
that
was doing.
movie, oh,
Yeah,
dude, that is so amazing. And because you mentioned something like staying in your lane, and it's kind of not so much staying in your lane, but also finding your lane. Like, what made you do that instead of like MMA? Because I got to imagine that like from 7, especially to 19, you're training, and even
yeah.
until now, but like you could have become a professional fighter even with your skills. Like, why not do that?
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I did have like a couple of amateur fights, and then I realized, ow, this
Mhm.
hurts, and I don't like doing it anymore.
Yeah, like on my teeth. It's like, hey, I didn't know that was gonna happen.
All right, like freaking. I also just don't like. I don't like fighting people. Like, like for me, like I train
No,
for
of
the
course.
for self defense. You know what I mean? But yeah, there was a bit there where I was an angry kid, and then I was just wanting to like kind of like unleash my frustrations and stuff, and I did decent.
No, that's
And
fair.
then there was just like I said, it was just a point where I was just like, yeah, I already got my nose busted, and on top of that too, it was out around the
Yeah.
same time where I was aspiring to get into acting and stuff. So I was like, I kind of had to choose one or the other,
hmm
and
I kind of need this thing intact.
yeah, at least this. You know what I mean? After I was gonna say after the busted nose, I'm like, man, yeah, no, this could really like break and like I was gonna say. So if you're deciding to like to want to get into movies and do MMA, is like one, this has to look good, but also two, there's also a liability. There's also a liability where it's just like,
Oh,
okay,
for sure.
fighting in a cage somewhere, and then also you got to be primed and ready to go ahead and for camera. You can't do both.
Yeah. No,
So I was
no,
just like, yeah,
that's
lived.
fair.
It was a short-lived aspiration, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm done. Um,
No, look, you found it. You found your lane. You're like, I think I like this road. I'm not going down this other dark and stormy road.
yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah,
drive
very
on the
much.
coast in the
A lot of
summertime.
the a lot of the martial arts that I like to study, a lot of the techniques I like to use, can't exactly use in the ring. So it's just like, yeah, no, there's no what I mean.
Oh, no, it's all yeah, no, 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 no. Illegal, disqualified, and you're done.
Oh yeah, no,
Uh,
getting locked
you
up, buddy.
know, I remember when I was oh yeah, in jail, like lethal way. Oh, too bad, you're gone.
Right.
Dreams crushed. I uh I remember when I was in the speaking of military, when I was in, I remember, getting the wrestle, you get into play fight, you go to the thing, you like wrestle on the mat, just horse and run. I remember I got put to sleep one time in a chokehold and I woke, I was like, I don't want to fight nobody. That's horrible.
Yeah, man. I've been slept. I was gonna say I've been put to sleep. I've been knocked out. You know what I mean? And it's just like, man, like
Yeah.
it's literally it's kind of like a game of chess. It's like, again, that there are people out there who train and they're really really good. But, like anything
Mm-hmm.
else, it just takes one good hit.
Takes one. At one good hit, one good fall, it's like me
Mm-hmm.
with skating. It's like, yeah, I can go backwards. I can do this. I can do that. But one rock on the wrong part of the wheel, and that's my ass.
Yeah,
Like it's over.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
absolutely. And so, and so, yeah, and so pretty much how I ended up meeting Maurice was because I was also like I said, I was a big fan of his, and also too like Protected 2 had came out as well, and that was like his big breakout
Mm-hmm.
movie with him fighting Tony Jaa and stuff and starring alongside him.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, funny enough, this is how small the world is. I had no idea that he lived in America. I thought he lived in, which funny enough, he did for like 5 years, and that's how he ended up on the Protected 2. Um, but he was living in Tampa. He was living in Tampa. Like, I kid you
Really?
not, just two
Got
two
it.
hours away from where I was living. And I was like, get the hell out of here. He ended up reaching out to me on Facebook of all things. And he wasn't known as Maurice Crump in his Facebook at the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
It was called Crump Martial Arts. And so like I didn't know how I got connected to this page, but also I thought maybe like it's a fan page, whatever. Um and so he ended
Yeah.
up asking me like, about doing my team. Um and what it was that that I was aspiring for, and so we ended up getting into a conversation. At first, like I thought it wasn't him. I thought I was being played with. Like, man, get off my page.
Yeah, yeah. It's some troll out
But
here.
no, but then like it was him, and we met up at Applebee's, and here we are, man. Freaking now, oh my god, 11,
Applebee's changing
12.
lives.
Yeah, yeah, and been training together ever since,
That's
and
dope.
to this day. he still mentors me, even though like even for like from like far, like I said, I live in Vegas now, and he lives elsewhere.
Oh yeah, of course.
And so we're always like hitting each other up, and like he's always giving me some things to work on, and we're always um, teaming up on like different ideas and collaborations and stuff. Even for what he does, and again, I'm always learning a lot from him as well. So yeah, that's a long time coming. Like funny enough, him and I was just talking about that too. Like, damn, has it really been that long? It's like, yeah, felt like freaking yesterday.
Time flies, man.
Really
Time
does.
flies. Time flies having fun, but also just when you're in the flow state of just living your life, like
Yeah.
you never know who you're going to meet at any point, but also you put yourself out there. And that's one thing I tell people or friends or even family, just put yourself out there. The worst somebody can tell you is no, and I can handle a no. That's why I'm like, hey, I'll do this thing here. Like worst thing somebody will tell me is I don't want to talk to you. I'm like, all right. Hey, when I get 50,000 subscribers, you'll talk to me. So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So it's just putting it out there and seeing what happens, and nothing exemplifies that, and especially training in martial arts, because you're really putting your trust in somebody else to teach you something that not only is for self-defense, but also just builds up self-confidence. And like people can be bad at it. People can fake that they know how to do it, but like putting your trust in somebody to teach you not only how to fight, protect yourself, but also maybe others is very important. And I've always thought it was cool, like essentially having a sensei or a master, or just that feeling that you must have, or anyone would have, just knowing that this person I trust 1,000%. They've, no matter what, they've seen you at your worst. They've seen you asleep, because they probably had to maybe knock you out once or twice just to so you know what is if it ever happens. Maybe I think that's just amazing.
It absolutely is. And you know what? Like
incredibly.
for within Maurice, I have definitely found like my teacher. Like, it's not just for martial arts, it's not just for the movie stuff. It looks like a life teacher too. Like we've also had like
life,
like what's going on, personal lives and stuff like that. And I've had multiple teachers, and I'd say I still have teachers. Even to this day, just people that I've learned from, connect with. Whether it's film, whether it's just life, whether it's just martial arts, and so on. And so like, yeah, he's kind of like my all around teacher for everything. Like even for, like I said, even for training and stuff. Like, right now I'm 31. I'm not old by any means, but now I'm in an age.
You're in your prime.
Right. I'm in my prime, but I'm also trying to stay that way.
Yeah.
I'm now training in a sense where, in my early 20s, I'm like freaking lifting super freaking heavy, doing all these crazy amount of freaking sets, and then now learning like, oh, okay, body doesn't exactly work that way. I don't have to do that much. You know what I mean?
No.
Going back into like the training, like for me, apart from like my martial arts, I'm very much in the gym. I'm also, very active outside, like I said, hiking, rock climbing, and stuff like that. I like to go throwing, for me, like that's also a workout as well, in a way. You know what I mean? While I have fun with that. Yeah, for me, it's like at the same time, it's all about longevity. It's all about functionality. So, aesthetic is something that kind of comes in later, and really what you worry about when you have to be in front of the camera, and if I have to take this off. You know what I mean? A lot of these actors,
for sure.
like, especially like the ones that play like superhero roles, like if they don't have to like be shirtless for a scene, you won't see them outside of that suit. You know what I mean? And
I agree with that. Like you gonna pay me.
Right, exactly. Like hell, like someone like Jason Momoa, who had to be shirtless for like what 90% of freaking Aquaman. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh man, training daily. They sure as hell freaking had to pay him well, to maintain that physique, and to have to basically be like that like the whole time. But so for me, I kind of see things in that way. But however, it is also part of like my discipline. It's also part of my way of life.
Yeah, you got to pay me to get ripped out.
Right, exactly. They essentially, I was gonna say, they if they're getting paid to look that ripped, and then that's when they'll pretty much do it. But so for me, just it's more so being able to be able to train and have fun with the things that I enjoy. You know what I mean? That's really what it's about. For me to be able to train so I can perform and also study my martial arts, as well as doing all the fun things like the rock climbing and so on. And even just for the gym is really more like a place of discipline for me. And so that's kind of like what my training is it's more so just having a balanced life and having a balanced sense of training, to where I'm not really just tearing my body apart, because also I want to be able to go ahead and do like this whole movie thing up till, I don't know, until I'm
Clint
about like
Eastwood,
Stallone's
like,
age.
keep going. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like for me, it's like I
Yeah.
aspire to be like that. That's another one
Yeah.
of my lifelong heroes. Stallone is just like that guy. It's just like, yeah, I
Yeah,
want to be able to
dude.
do what he does.
And you mentioned, like, even with like mentors and teachers, like, I love all the Rocky movies, even Rocky 5 in a way. But like the scene that always gets me, it always, makes me cry a little bit, is even in Rocky 5 when he's like chatting with Mickey, like he's having that, like, not a hallucination, but a flashback to the first Rocky, and he's like giving him his pendant, and he's like, he's his trainer, but he's also going to say, I'm going to teach you how to not only live your life, but also how to fight. And it just always makes me think, like, yeah, that's what a mentor is. It's like not just teaching you how to fight or anything else, it's just life advice. But that's dope, man. And, as you were talking, I wanted to know, have you tried to recreate like any anime fight moves or anything? Like, have you thought, I think I could do that?
I so far I haven't tried that. I mean, I don't know. As far as like recreating anything, uh, I don't know. I guess I'm not really that big of a fan of like I guess essentially like remaking anything. I will say that I have
Mm-hmm.
used fight scenes to practice with. You know what I mean? Like I
Oh, yeah.
remember back when I was starting like the whole stunt team thing, we'll go ahead and like try to like reenact like certain fight scenes. You know what I mean? Just for the
Yeah.
sake of practice. We've never really even put out those videos
Yeah.
or anything like that. Wanted to know like, okay, what does it look like? How do we do these things? You know what I mean? Just kind of like watching like those fight scenes, but also trying to learn like how it looked like, behind the scenes. And this is like I said, just
Mm-hmm.
in the very, 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 very beginning, before I was even being taught by like professionals. It was like me kind of like, just trying it for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. To use like old fight scenes and stuff like that, and just like I said, try to emulate those. And funny
That's
enough,
such a
like I said,
dope way to learn.
like Bruce Lee
That's
movies,
what
Jack,
I would do that if I was
Stunk,
teaching.
so on.
That's such an awesome way, because I think of like all the famous scenes that I would do it. Um, what was that? One of my favorite fight scenes is the Meals on Wheels fight scene with Jackie and Benny the Jet.
Oh, hit the
Um,
jet.
that that is my. Sometimes that's just a comfort thing I watch on YouTube. Like, all right, let's put it. It's that time of month again. Let me go ahead and just put this bad boy on and just watch how just the
That's actually one of my favorite fight scenes too. Funny enough,
yeah.
between that and Forever, and funny enough, not so long ago, I actually
Yep.
just met Benny the Jet.
Get the hell out of here. Where were you at? Was that like a convention?
Dude, yeah, yeah, it was at a convention. It was a Dragon Con in California, and yeah, he ended up showing up and he had a booth, and it was amazing, man. I got to meet him, to get my picture with him, and
Yeah.
tell him like, hey, man, thank you for the inspiration and stuff. Because yeah, he was another one. Like again, like a lot of
Yeah.
these, like not to say that they're all not fighters. I guess I also am a fan of like these somewhat uh lesser known action performers. Like because
Mhm.
people know who Benny the Jet is. Like if you're a
Yeah.
real fan of like martial, what I mean. Like you'll know like who each and every one of these
Hmm.
people are. But I guess like in the broad audience, you know what I mean, like mainstream media and stuff like that, they may not know. You know what I mean? Or
Hmm.
just because they haven't really been put out like that. But
Yeah.
I'm really a big fan of those guys too, especially like people like Benny the Jet. Just because like even like he was a real fighter turned
Yeah.
action.
Yeah.
And so yeah, man, it was awesome. Also too, he's just one of those villains too. Like in the roles that he has played, he's kind of like my ponytail inspiration.
Yeah.
So like yeah, like that 80s style like freaking bad guy is just like, yeah, I've always wanted to play roles like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So
No,
yeah, it was.
it's very classic 90s, 80s ponytail villain, but just badass.
Oh yeah. So like definitely for
I
sure,
love it.
definitely amongst my ponytail inspirations between
That's
Benny
so
the
dope,
Jet. You got
man. That's why that's
or
why I'm so interested in talking,
Tommy.
because this
Hell, even Terry Silver from freaking Cobra.
yeah. Dude, I just finished the part 2 of season 6. I think like yesterday. Just sat just plowed through it all. It was so like, it has no right being as good as it is as a show, or just even as a
Yeah,
concept.
I got to catch up, but like so far, like that show is just so well written, man. Like I don't know who these writers are that they have behind the scenes, but man, they deserve a raise. They
They
definitely deserve.
deserve everything. That's how you do like a legacy sequel, in my opinion. Like they, you know, even with the fight scenes, it's like it's not overly done. I mean, yes, it's stylized. I mean, in the Karate Kid universe, if you know karate, it's like it's you can pretty much beat anybody. It seems like if you know that like Miyagi Do karate, it's like okay. Like even when I look at Daniel LaRusso, I'm like, all right, he's not John Wick, but he's kicking ass, and it's like almost like not say basic moves, but I treat it as if like he's an anime or a cartoon character sensei. Like he just automatically gets a power up because he's considered a master. Is his students
Right.
better than him?
Exactly.
I think so. But like that's the point. So like the writers do a great job of not even humanizing even the villains, but just bringing back all the classic villains of the franchise and saying they all matter. You know what I mean? Like it's so good. So good.
Yeah.
I
No,
love it.
absolutely, man. So
I
one
would definitely do
of
it.
my favorite shows.
Like, I know we were chatting a bit because I saw you also posting a lot of some Metal Gear stuff, and I probably am the biggest Metal Gear fan you'll know ever in life, and I'll say that on the internet with 100% certainty. Like that was the game I watched my dad playing. It's the game franchise I've played the most, and one of the few that taught me about not just game making but filmmaking and just the reverence for that, a game that make you think and make you not believe, but like challenge your worldview, but also just fighting and martial arts too. It's just a total package for a video game. And I just remember when I saw you post something about that, I was like, God, I can't wait for this talk because like that is my shit.
Yeah, no, definitely the same, dude. That's like my number one favorite video game of all time, and like, uh, I've replayed all those games like so many times, countless times, to the point where I know the dialogue like by
I
heart.
know it. Yeah.
You know what I
Like if
mean?
we went, that's dope.
Yeah, yeah. No, man,
Yo,
it's awesome. Because funny enough, like it was my older brother that actually got me into those games. You know, I was too young to play them at the time, like the first Metal Gear Solid when it was back in the PlayStation 1. You know what I
mm-hmm.
mean? So I
Yeah.
was just a kid, and so yeah, growing up watching him play those games, it just seemed like so freaking cool. It also looked complicated, but then like I started playing it for myself, and it's just
Yeah.
like I felt.
It did look complicated. It looked very complicated, but it wasn't. I mean, to the uninitiated, it's complicated. But when you're in the lore, when you're like in it, you're like, oh, I can recite this scripture and verse, like lale lule lo. Like I can't even say the word. I have to say lale lule lo. Can't say like I just. It's so interesting. Like it's one of my inspirations of why I wanted to get in the creative field because it just challenged what a game could be. So
Mhm.
like when I was chatting with you offline, I was saying that I'm in the midst of I'm recording the last bit of a video essay on Metal Gear. So like it is honestly one of my first big video essays that I'm looking to do. And I said there's no better subject matter that I can talk endlessly about. Issue is how do I get it down from 3 hours to 10 minutes? So like that's sort of
Right.
my issue now.
Nice. Yeah. No, I was gonna say. So I mean, yeah. Again, I guess it's just such a great game. Just all the details that are in it, and funny enough, that game is also one of my inspirations too, as to why I do what I do. Like those are the type of like stories and like action hero roles that I would love to play like myself. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like for me, like Solid Snake was like my James Bond. You
He
know,
is.
so so for me, like I mean, especially like in the video game sense, like of course I grew up with like James Bond. I think we all did, but
Yeah.
every gen has their own James Bond. Definitely huge Daniel Craig fan. But also I grew up on Pierce Brosnan.
See. I'm a Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton guy. Yeah, Pierce is great. Pierce is amazing. All of them are great. All of them are
Yeah.
great. But I'm a I'm I am such a Dalton stan. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
Roger Moore leading in the Dalton stan because I'm like Dalton had the sauce before. I mean, Craig had the sauce, but Dalton was like, I am Bond. Like I'm charming, but I'm crazy as all outdoors. and I don't care. Like that's a whole nother video that I can do. But yeah, I love all of them. But I'm a Dalton man just because, just that grit I always appreciated.
Right. Right. Absolutely. You know, and that's just kind of how I see Solid Snake as well. Like for me, it's just at the same time, like it's just straight up grit. It's just straight up grit. Like while at the same time, he's very much humanized, you know, in the game as well, especially like the first one.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, just those are just some great freaking stories, and hopefully one day that I would love to like, you know, spin those games. Like,
well, you're already on the right path for it. I mean, like in a little sneak peek of my video, I'm talking about either should Metal Gear be a movie or a television show. And I mean, the movie's already in the works, but I'm on camp. It should be a television show just because there's so much that a movie I don't think can cover. And my take on it is I don't want to see a recreation of the games. You know, I want like another story in that universe with another character we enjoy, like Liquid or Solidus or Gray Fox. Like, let's hear their stories on a perspective of certain stuff. We already know snakes, we know big bosses. Let's, you know, that's my take on it.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. And like for sure, like, you know, if those movies or even TV shows are going to be a thing, like you have to have, you know, the great, you know, Hideo Kojima.
That's why I'm like, I don't want to really buy the remake of Snake Eater, because I'm like, I get, you know, I don't want to feel like a traitor.
Right. No, I like, you know, what they did with him is so messed up. It's so messed up. And
yeah.
The original is perfect. I mean, really, I was gonna say, looking at those games, the new remake, it's literally animated as it just has like this HD render on top of it, you know, despite a couple of new features.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like, okay, I've already played this before when it was better, you know, and sure, it could play well and it could look good, and you got the voice actors back, and it's nice, but it feels a little soulless, you know, just because the creator's not there anymore, and then they parted on such. It's like, why? It's like if your friends are breaking up and they're both your best friends, you're like, I gotta choose a side. I don't want to do that.
Right. No, absolutely, man. You know what I mean? But like, at the end of the day, definitely I side was Kojima.
Oh, for sure. Hideo every day, all day.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's a shame because there's so much more stories left untold. You know what I mean? There's still so much more mystery.
Exactly.
And like we're probably not there. Yeah, we're probably not going to get another, you know, Metal Gear. You know what I mean? And I think that's why
it's a true phantom pain.
Konami knows. Right. Like I think Konami knows that now. Okay, cool. Like, you know, we can't continue, you know, the story anymore because we don't have Kojima. But like now, all we can do is just you know, remake the stuff, you know, remaster, and like and besides, you know, that seems to be like the market these days. People do want remasters of those games or Final Fantasy, Devil May Cry, and so on. You know what I mean? So that's the market, and they're gonna go ahead and capitalize on it.
Yeah, and well, that's why I'm always a fan of like add to it, not like I'm always like, okay, yes, and then this also could happen. Not so much like, actually, this is what I like. I'm not a big retcon person. I know every franchise has some sort of retcon, but that's why I think a TV show focusing on like a different character and not so much retconning what we know, but more so like, okay, we have between these years and these years to truly explore. And we can do that in an 8-episode show, and that's it. And then move on. Like, we don't need to go 10 seasons of Liquid Snake. I mean, that's too much, but, you know.
Right.
That's how I was
going to say, too. And even, I don't remember if this was Kojima's, if he was behind it or not. But, like, Metal Gear Rising, despite how short the game is, it was a great example of, like, okay, we can go ahead and make a video game about another character, and it's still going to be successful.
Yeah. Oh, he was actually, he was a part of the initial development of it before it went in another direction. It is not necessarily considered canon, but if you make it canon in your head, it doesn't necessarily disrupt the storyline in any way. I think it still works with Raiden's character.
Literally, it's just a story that takes place after 4.
Yeah, and you know, I think it was a fun game, very innovative to play. But you know, I'm not like one of those, like, if it's not canon, it doesn't exist. Like, it still made me feel something. You know, it was still in that same vein of Kojima in there. So like I give it a pass where like Survive and the rest of that other stuff, I haven't even played, won't even play it, don't even need this. Like,
I
hell
haven't.
no.
I have touched Survive, and what's funny is that it goes to show how that game's marketed, because I literally came across that at GameStop. I didn't even know, like,
No
there was a
way.
trailer. No, but again, I didn't even pick it up. I was just like, I don't even know what this game
Yeah.
is. Like, Metal Gear sounds
No.
like a zombie game.
You know, it kind of was. And that's why it was like, I remember watching the trailer, I was like, oh, I know they're wrong. They're using the same Fox engine and they're barely doing it. It's amazing what corporate greed can get you. They're like, well, it has the Metal Gear name on it. Let's sell it to them. They'll freaking buy it. And they didn't. And then they learned their lesson. They said, let's just remake 3, which is, why?
Yeah.
But, okay. Nah, like
Yeah.
that's one of the things. It's the bigger you get, the more these companies would love to just, in a way, keep using you. So like, yeah, I'm glad he's doing his own thing with Death Stranding, and I like the first game. I'm excited for the sequel. I love a good walking simulator. It's pretty fun.
Absolutely. Hey, you know what? Not for nothing. People had crapped on that game because of that. But like, I don't know, the way I played it, I found it to be fun. You know what I mean? For me,
I
it was
thought it
just
was
more
fun
so.
too.
Yeah, don't walk away from the danger. Walk towards it. You know what I mean? Like,
Run
that's how you make
towards
it
it.
exciting. Shoot people and stuff.
Strap the baby to your chest and just keep walking. What do you?
That's it. Yeah, dude.
It's so funny. I don't know a lot of people that like that. I mean, I feel like the Metal Gear community is pretty tight knit, or very like, I don't know
it is.
how to describe it. There's not a lot of us
For
out
sure.
there. When somebody even knows they like it, you're like, you like it too?
Right. It's like, it's a small community, and if it's it's either it's a small community, or very much also at the same time, we're all just older, just because the game came out so many years ago.
Yeah. It's like, I think somebody who's like, if they say their favorite game is Metal Gear, like, oh, you're not one of these other. You're awake. You get it. Like, we're living Metal Gear Solid 2 right now.
Right. I feel like the fandom for Metal Gear back was about the hype. I mean, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the Metal Gear hype back then was about as big as what COD is now.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's about the same, and
yeah,
it's just one is more. You get too much of a good thing with COD, where Metal Gear you get just enough, and it always leaves you satisfied. No matter what. But look, this is the issues with us with even podcasting in a way, because like I just want to keep talking more about like this. I feel my brain like I'm about to go in, but I know we're short on time. I'm like,
dude, I'm the same way. Like what we were talking about in the beginning of this too. Like we're dweebs. Like I'm a freaking dweeb myself. Like I can go in on any of these other freaking conversations, whether it comes to movies, video games, and anime, and so on. Like, it's awesome, and that's why I like doing shows like this, just to be able to talk and like be able to kind of like geek out with others, and just kind of.
I got nothing to promote. I'm just here to talk about some good shit. Like that's it. I would definitely do a part 2 or 3. Speaking of James Bond, before I get to the last segment of the show, I have a good friend of mine. We're actually going through all the James Bond movies. We're going to do an episode of Nico Likes to Talk. We're going to rank them live together, because our tastes are totally different. Like James Bond is another one of those things that helped, I would say, form my my creative, love of stuff. So we're going to do that. I would definitely hop on a part 2 or 3 with you, and we can just go through Metal Gear. Like, all right, rank these characters in 1, or even just be like, okay, was Liquid right? Yeah.
That's a question.
I would for sure do that. Like,
that's the question.
That's one of the reasons me and Gadiel got started bonded, because he was in the Metal Gear, and that sort of started our relationship years back at this point now. Just, he was like, you in Lolly Lule Low? I was like, yep.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So, no.
Dude, I'm totally down for that.
All right. So here's what I'd like to do now at this point in the show, just because we're short on time. is I have this segment called Questions of the Past, Questions of the Future, where I ask you a question that my previous guest asked the audience and myself. And then after you answer that question, you have a chance to ask a question that you would like me to ask the next guest. Sound fun?
Sounds. Oh, yeah, for sure. Let's go for it.
All right. So the question was, what is something that you would give up, or if you would give this up to reach the next level of yourself, if that makes sense? That's how it was worded in the last episode. But yeah, is there something you would give up if the opportunity to reach your next self or your next level, would you do it?
Ooh, to be honest with you, as much as this is my dream to become like an international like action star and stuff like that, and I say that proudly, absolutely. You know what I mean? For me, I would give it up just to have a peaceful life, to have a happy life. You know what I mean? Not to say that I don't have a happy life now. I do. I very much do. But I guess to kind of to find that sense of peace, along with family and just, being able to kind of like live like a nice life of solitude and just, just pure happiness. If I had to go ahead and give up, film for that, I would. Because also I know too, when, experiencing a little bit of it, being in the film business, sometimes, the time with family, you can kind of lose that.
Yeah.
Whether you're with a significant other or, you're also raising a family with others, it can definitely get complicated. You know what I mean? So I guess for sure, if I had to trade, my career for that, just to have that sense of peace with family. Absolutely. Absolutely.
No, that's a beautiful answer. That's a beautiful answer. That's along the lines what I answered my last episode too. For sure. Now, I know this is on the spot, but what question would you want me to ask the next guest?
I'm sorry, say one more time.
I said, I know this is on the spot, but what question would you like me to ask the next guest?
Oh, okay. I guess it's the same as I would say maybe the question I would ask is what does happiness mean?
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll definitely ask that.
But
no, that's perfect.
If you had to define what it is that makes you happy, truly, what does that look like? Yeah, I would say.
Okay. No, and then that's an amazing question. And tradition, I'll answer it myself first. Happiness to me means peace, and peace in my definition can change depending on where I'm at in my life. With me, today actually is my wedding anniversary. So this is
happy anniversary.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And that's such a great question because it's about peace to me in a relationship and just with people in my life. And that's really what makes me happy. If peace means quiet for an hour, if peace means going to the movies or going for a walk or resolving a conflict, say you get to an argument the day before, but then the next day you resolve it and it's finally peace. That's what happiness means to me, to finally achieve peace in any regard, with friends, family, finally beating a hard level in a video game, peace, and then walking away.
Yeah, freaking Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Oh yeah, I've never beaten him in Kingdom Hearts. I've tried. I've never. If I had a regret, it is never beating him. And the second regret is asking my dad for help on how to beat Psycho Mantis in Metal Gear Solid 1 growing up.
You know what?
I have two regrets in life, and those are it.
Dude, it took me 15 years to beat Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Dude.
For Psycho Mantis, it took a bunch of calls from Colonel Campbell to find that out.
I couldn't piece that together. I just kept ignoring it. I was like, I don't know what I kept skipping it. I didn't care. I was so frustrated. My dad, because he had beaten the game already. Remember, at this point, my dad was working overnight from corrections, and he came home and he saw me. He was like, "You got to do that." And Dad walked away. And then I literally, I remember like it was yesterday. I did it, and after I beat him, I turned the game off for 2 weeks because I just was so mad at myself. And from this day on, I don't ask for help when it comes to doing stuff.
Yeah.
But that's a podcast in and of itself.
Yeah, no, dude, absolutely. I remember, to be honest with you, that wasn't even, for me, that wasn't even the hard part of the game. Like, it was annoying, yeah. It was more so trying to find out freaking Meryl's Kodak number.
Oh, yeah, back of the box. See, that I saw. But they gave me, like, I just knew it.
Saw that? Like, this dude's, like, talking about the back of what box? What freaking box?
And the box was glass. I mean, it's not even a box. It was like a glass case at the time. So if you had broken it and tossed it away,
right.
you're
right. Oh, my God. That would have been terrible. But
dude,
that was the hard.
So funny. If anybody had to take anything away, if it takes you 15 years to beat Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts 2, that's okay. That's all right. It happens.
Yeah. Absolutely, man.
Oh man, Anthony, it was so great talking with you, dude. Like I can't wait for part 2, 3, 4. We do this every week. I don't care. It's my show. I can do what I want. So like, it's amazing.
Game, definitely, sure.
All right, man.
Dude, it was awesome. It was a blast talking to you too, man. And thank you for having me on the show.
For sure. Anything you want people to follow you anywhere? Anything you want to plug?
Yeah. You know, if you're on Instagram, my handle is Welcome to the New Age. And also, yeah, I was gonna say that's pretty much where I'm mostly active on.
All right. Well, thanks everyone. I appreciate everyone listening to me and Anthony talk, and we'll do it again next week. All right.
We'll go ahead and like try to like, you know, reenact like certain fight scene. We'll go ahead and